I sold below bar 1, looking for a test of Friday's close. Moved my target a little bit above the whole number, 374. I do still think we'll get to yesterday's close, but it was already a 50-cent profit. So 50 cents on 15 shares, so up 735. What was it for 50 cents? I guess it was 49 cents. Yeah, 49 cents on 15 shares. Pretty good start to the day. Yeah, Friday was very climactic, and then we gapped up as well. So I thought it was reasonable to look for a test of Friday's close. I'm getting ready to buy above this bull bar. We had a really tight channel down, and then two really strong climaxes. So I think this is a possible start of a swing up, at least to the high of the sell climax, and potentially to Thursday's low, because we went outside down from Thursday's price action, and Thursday's low is up here. So there's a chance that we get a swing up to Thursday's low. But at the very least, I think we should get up to the high of the sell climax. Just triggered the buy above this bar. There wasn't the sense of urgency that I thought there would be. After the strong reversal up, I thought we'd continue up with a little bit more momentum up to the high of the sell climax. But instead, the entry bar is just a doji bar, so not as much urgency as I thought, and that might mean that we pull back a little bit. If we get down here, I'll buy again. Normally in these situations, I use a wide stop and I wait for a second reversal up, but I think this is climactic enough and the context is good enough that I may not wait for a second reversal up. I might just buy with a limit order at the low of the buy signal. So we'll see if we get there. Not really doing what I wanted. I still think a trading range is likely. It's not going up with a lot of momentum, but it's also not falling with a lot of momentum. So I think my entry is okay, and I think for now my target is okay. If we get down here, I'll buy 7 more shares because I'm long 7 above the signal bar. So I'll buy 7 more down here if we get there, and then change my target to my first entry. But for now, I think my initial entry is okay and my initial target is okay. It's just not really showing as much strength as I would like. Oh, we're $1 below my entry. We're testing the low close. That might be a good place to enter, but I don't want to buy with a limit order here. I'd rather wait for the bar to close and then buy the close, or ideally buy below the signal bar, below the bull signal bar here. So I'd like to buy here if possible. So I decided to just buy 2 shares there because we bounced once at the low close and started to bounce again. And we're $1 below my entry, so I think that's reasonable. I didn't want to buy the entire 7 shares there because I think we might still get below this low because it's not looking very strong. But it might, my initial entry might turn out to be the target now because of how weak this has been. So I wanted to buy at least a little bit in case we just rally straight up there. So I'm going to move my target to my initial entry. For some reason, we got really quiet right after the buy signal. So I'm not sure if my read is still accurate, but it doesn't look like it's going down with much energy. So I still think being long is okay. And because it has quieted down, I think it's best to use the target of my initial entry. Sorry, it's best to use my initial entry as a target. So this might be the high of the range. So my plan was to buy 7 here and then have 7 to add down here. I've already added 2 at the low close. I may add 2 more at the low. And then leave the other 3 for a second reversal up. Because even if we fall for another half an hour, I think the high of this buy signal is a reasonable target. So I ended up buying 2 more shares at the low of the signal bar. So now I'm long 4 shares on my ad and I have 3 shares left. It's tough. Like I'm having a hard time balancing how aggressive I should be, because on days when it fills the buy, I enter above the buy signal, and then it channels down and never provides a second reversal up to buy above. It gets above my initial entry, and so the adjustment that I say I need to make is that I need to start buying at regular intervals down, so that when it gets back up to my initial entry, I can profit on those ads. And then sometimes when I do that, it just ends up stopping me out. And then the adjustment becomes I should be waiting for a second entry buy. So like I'm having a hard time balancing those. I'm not sure. Like this is a pretty strong reversal up after consecutive climaxes, after going outside down. So usually we don't go that far below yesterday's low, well in this case Thursday's low. So I thought there were enough reasons for this to become a trading range. And I chose today to add at regular intervals instead of waiting for a second reversal up. So I just don't know when to be aggressive like this and when not to be. And today I felt like it was reasonable to do what I did. But it looks like it might come down and stop me out now. Alright, so got stopped out there. I was up 730, so lost about $30 on it, which is my max risk. So the risk is okay. Like the amount I lost is okay. I don't know. It's a tough one. I think because it channeled down here and then started to accelerate and got breakout and follow through, maybe that's enough of a reason to exit. But again, like I can't speak to that right after taking a loss. Like I'm not sure. I have to look into a bunch of these examples and see what I could do better. But it's a tough loss for sure.